Okay, on question number 1, this one we are graphing inequalities. Actually, the first few problems here, 1 through 4, we're graphing inequalities. So first thing we need to do is identify what form this equation is, and this is in y equals mx plus b format. So this is our y-intercept, and our slope is 3 over 1. This is our slope, and we know slope is equal to rise over run. So our rise is going to be 3, our run is going to be 1. Okay. So first thing that you do is you graph your y-intercept, which is positive 1, and then you count your slope, and your slope is up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. You can count it again, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay. And then we have to decide what kind of line is this. Is this a solid line or a dashed line? And solid lines, you use a solid line if it's equal. You'll use a dashed line if it's just greater than or just less than. Okay. So here, because it's greater than and equal to, this would be a solid line. So we're going to go ahead and connect that up. Okay. And then we need to decide what side of this line we're gonna shade on. Now, you can say, oh, my y values are greater than this. So that means the y's got to keep getting bigger, which would be this side of the line. So we would shade this side. Or you can use a test point. Here's the point 0, 0. And I can plug in 0 for x and 0 for y and see if that point is true. If we plug it in, we plug 0 in for y, you get 0 is greater than or equal to 3 times 0 plus 1. So that obviously is 0 is greater than or equal to 1, because 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 0. So is 0 greater than 1? Well, 0 is not greater than 1. That means this point doesn't work. So since that point doesn't work, this side is not the side that gets shaded. This would be the side that gets shaded. Okay? So that's your first problem. Okay? So let's do another one. On question number 2, here we've got y is greater than or equal to 3. Well, first thing should be obvious. Here's the y-axis, that's up and down, so let's go to 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's put a point there. But now we need to figure out which direction this line goes. Does it go up and down, or does it go left to right? Well, it says y is 3, so every single point here, y would be 3. This is a horizontal line, and because it's equal, again, it's solid, so this is a horizontal line, it's solid. Okay. And now we have to decide which side we shade on. Well, here we don't really need to use a test point. We just need to decide which side of this line our y value is going to be greater than 3. Well, greater numbers are more and more positive, and the more positives up, so there is your final shaded area. Okay. On number 3, this is in standard form, and again, the easiest way to graph in standard form is to find your x and y intercepts, and your x-intercept is when we know we're on the x-axis when we're not moving up or down at all, which means y is 0, and we know our y-intercept is when we're on the y-axis, so we're not moving left to right at all, so we know x is 0. And then it's just a matter of finding out what are those values. So the x-intercept, if we plugged in 0 for y, then this is gone. 2 times 0 just disappears, because 0's nothing, so we get x is 8. So we're going to go to x is 8. This is an 8 by 8 grid, so we're going to hit x over here as 8. Then y is 0. Y-intercept is when x is 0, so we plug in 0 here. You get negative 2y is 8, which means you divide by -2, and y is -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and again, I guess I can show you this. If we plug this in here, you're going to get x minus 2 times 0 is let's just say equal to 8 because it's going to be an exact value. So then that gets you x is 8. That's why that was 8. This is an 8 here. And then over here, if we did 0 minus 2y equals 8, well, now that's gone. So y equals -4. Okay? And then because it's just less than, it's going to be a dashed line. Again, we covered that up here. Dashed lines are just less than or just greater than. So if we connect these points up here, okay. And now we just figure out the shaded area. And again, here we could say, since this is in standard form, you can really just go by the direction of the arrow on standard form. So we know we're going to be shading on the left-hand side because the arrow is pointing to the left. Or, again, we can use the test point here, 0, 0, and see if that works. So if you plug that in here, 0 minus 2 times 0 less than 8, you get 0 is less than 8, which is true. So this point works, which makes this have to be the shaded side. Okay? And then on the last one here, in this section, x is less than or equal to -3. So here's the x, 1, 2, 3. There's -3. Since it's equal, this is solid. So we have a solid line here. Okay. And then smaller values, x needs to be smaller than -3. Well, smaller numbers are to the left. So final shaded area is right there. Okay. So that's the first 4.